What's up, guys? Welcome to the Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast. If you've got laser brain, we were waiting for Matt, but I decided being on time was more important. Matt probably assumed we were going to start at around 9:15, so we'll see when he shows up. Before we get started today, I just have to shout out our brand new sponsor. I'm sure you guys have heard it. You guys are all the regulars if you're here listening live. This is sponsored by Johnson Plastics Plus now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We love JP Plus. They are the foundation of Monroe Laser Engraving, which was our shop, and they provided so much of what we sold there. Laser blanks. They make Romark. They're the owners of Romark, which is one of the best 2-ply acrylics. Michael knows. Michael works with JP Plus, and it's just they're just a rock solid company. I actually don't think we've talked about this since you've been on, dude. How long have you been buying JP Plus? Because it was before I even had a business.
Dude, I think it was probably somewhere within the first year of starting Sonoma Laser Engraving. And it was like this, someone had mentioned, have you never heard of Johnson Plastic Plus? Because we were like, where do we get acrylic? Where do we get this? We had just got because we didn't have a CO2 laser at first. Yeah. But when we got it, then we started wondering where are people getting this, and it was like when we found it we were like, no way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we saw the light, man. So shout out to them. They've been a big part of my life, literally. I'm not being hyperbolic just for, is that right? Hyperbolic. Yeah, hyperbolic. I'm not being hyperbolic just for the sake of an advertisement. They've been a big part of my life for like a decade. So they're great. Go check them out. We've got links in the description along with a coupon code for you to use to get 15% off of any order. And of course, you always get free shipping over $150. So links to that down in the description. But yeah, Michael's here from Laser Engraving 911. We're just hanging out. We're going to take questions. We're going to chat about ongoing projects, see what's up, catch up with Michael a little bit, and just do what we normally do when we don't have a guest. So it's going to be a little loosey-goosey today, and that's the way I personally like it, and that's what's up. So how you doing, Michael? What's up, man?
Dude, I am doing good. I'm not afraid to say that new business has been a little bit slow at Sonoma Laser Engraving, and that kind of, instead of like getting down in the dumps about that, what I like to do is pivot and be like, okay, well, all these little projects that I've been wanting to do, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to focus on some other things and some more videos and kind of building a little set for my next video in the shop here. So, just because things are slow doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means that maybe the universe is allowing you an opportunity to work on other projects that you had. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I just pulled up the channel to see if there's anything that I missed lately, and you're at 47.3 thousand subs, man. That's huge. Yeah, that's awesome. You're doing really well, dude.
Yeah.
So what's the newest thing? Laser engraving pro tips, wood. That's a cool.
Yeah, dude, that one blew up
right there. Yeah, 36,000 views on that. What would people find in that episode if they want to go click on that one right now?
And that episode is basically my top 10, just basic Bible pro tips for engraving wood, like things you should always follow. Everything after that is just kind of extra, but I go over the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, you got a couple things I need to check out.
Yeah.
Oh, laser cutting acrylic, make money making car parts. I remember when we did the first one of those.
That's what the video is about. He called in another one.
No, he did.
Years later.
Whoa.
So I was like, I'm going to show people how I use this file that we had a draftsman create it because we didn't have the Adobe skills. So yeah. But yeah, making that replacement dash insert for that old classic car is good money. And it's just a piece of acrylic.
You've been busy, dude. I'm not gonna lie. You've been busy. You got a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I'm not surprised to hear that things have slowed down. I mean, we know the ebb and flow of the annual laser engraving seasons. It's
The
February.
quarter one blues. Yeah.
January and February are so rough, especially for us. So I'm not shocked to hear that at all.
And there's always somebody out in the forums that's like, what are you talking about, bro? I just did like $100,000 yesterday in business.
Yeah.
There's like, but I think for the most part, there is, after the holidays, there's like this, kind of slump, and then it kind of creeps. My wife was telling me, she's like, I was telling her about this. She's like, you do this every year. Every year you say the same thing on the same month.
Yeah.
It's a little slow,
Yeah.
But,
and I mean, like, honestly, what is there to, besides like just the normal, like, random stuff that people get? There is no like tent pole in quarter one, like nobody's getting things engraved for New Year's. Valentine's Day, you might see a little bump if you market well. And then you have St. Patrick's Day. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cared. Easter.
Valentine's Day was never a big one for us either. You remember that?
It never was. Yeah, we always thought it would be, and it never was. And then Easter, which again nobody cares. I mean, it's a big holiday, but it's not. What are you gonna have engraved? Like Easter eggs. Might be a good episode. And then April, May. That's when it starts to pick back up. So Mother's Day, Father's Day, and then you're into the summer. Everybody's doing like tumblers, and they're out and about in the sun again, and everybody starts feeling better. So if it is slow for you right now, I would agree. Like, don't stress about it. Just try to find.
I'm just taking advantage of the time.
Novel.
Get projects done. Create new files, new designs.
Yeah, I think I told you guys I've been selling some of my files on Etsy.
Yeah.
Remember we had the old Thread Revival shop? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We abandoned it for years, and I just stripped everything from it, and now I'm just using it to sell SVG files, Tumblr wrap files. I'm just files, no physical stuff. So I've been kind of just trying another source of revenue.
That's sick, dude. So you're just reusing the brand?
Why? Yeah, it already has reviews, it already has sales.
Yeah.
It's still active.
Can we get a link to that? Maybe shoot me one, and I'll send it to Kyle. We can get it in the description so people go check.
Yeah, for sure. But the cool thing is I'm just building it, and I'm relearning like what has Etsy been doing since I've been off of it for years, and I'm not really going to get into too many physical products. I see an opportunity for digital products right now, even if they sell for $2 or $3. You don't really have to worry about it. It's once and done.
I've been hearing a lot more about Etsy lately. Rhiannon, I'm sure you remember Rhiannon, Chris's girlfriend. Like many years now. She opened an Etsy shop because they have a couple diode lasers now, and she has this one. It's like one pattern, and it's for like a hexagon shaped lantern, like a box lantern.
Sure.
And all she does all day, every day, is sits with a pen on a tablet and draws a new version of negative,
like an insert
panel for that thing. Yeah, and she's got like 80 of them, and they're selling really well, and they're all just like it's the same lantern for everything with just different panels that she drew. And
that's right.
Yeah, and that's how she's just been like filling her time. So I've been like hearing about it from them a lot lately, about like what's new on Etsy and how things are performing and stuff like that. It sounds like they've kind of gotten their shit together a little bit, which is good. So
yeah, if you don't want to sell like physical products and you're really good at graphic design and you already have a bunch of laser engraving assets, whatever that is, whether it's a cut file or an engraving file that you created that's not a copy of some trademark stuff or whatever, it might be an opportunity to sell those files.
Yep. It's cool. What about you, Kyle? What's up, man?
I've been working a lot on QA testing some of the products I've been working on for the marketplace. Got my first sale last week.
Woo!
Which immediately meant I was sold out because I made one. But that's okay. So I'm waiting to get some feedback on that. See if I need to tweak any more.
And that was for one of the rotary plates,
fixture plates. Yeah. So that one's for business card. Shout out to Cody. And I will be finishing up generating some additional ones now. I think I have 6 or 7 designs that I'll be prepping to get cut. 2 or 3 of them are in testing right now just to see if I want to make any tweaks or adjustments. And fussing with how I'm assembling them right now. I'm kind of hung up on that. Yeah, glue. I hate glue. I know a lot of you hate glue too. I share that hatred. So that's on my mind right now. I'm trying to get around that at the moment, but it's a process. It's a process.
You don't have like a prototype sitting back there somewhere, do you?
I'll find one.
Okay. No, I want to see it.
I have a couple
kind of like picture it. I mean, it's kind of like it's like basically the thing that like triggered all of this was the episode you did on rotary fixture plates.
Yes.
For the channel, right?
I've gotten several dozen requests for either people who don't have a CO2 to cut out their own, or they've gone somewhere else to get it cut out and it didn't turn out the way they wanted, or it was delivered dysfunctionally, or it wasn't delivered in a ready-to-use state, and the people they bought it from couldn't support them, or various other reasons, right? So I guess that video kind of shot my name into the list of people seeking help, right? So I decided it was time to start trying to help those people out.
That's cool. Is it?
Yep.
Is the design that you're working with right now based on like a D80, or will it work with like a pie burn grip, or do you have a way for people to specify like what they want if they're not all kind of universal? Like, what's the deal with that?
So I could do custom jigs. The problem is I don't have a pie burn grip, and I don't have like a D120 or anything like that crazy to test on.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I'm functioning around a D80 or a rotary fixture, like a rotary table, because that's what I have access to actually confirm compatibility. But if the need arises, I will order a D120 if I have to, just to make sure that it works. It's funny that most D80 chuck rotary teeth are actually pretty damn similar. So in terms of dimensions, it pretty much just fits. So once you get kind of the design going for that, there's a lot less of a problem. But just little nitpicky stuff I want to change on a lot of the designs that I have. Yeah. Actually, I can open the folder.
Jason's in chat. He says, don't forget the Talon. That would require Kyle to have a Talon.
That's true. I would need a Talon for that, Jason.
He needs to be able to build the file off of something.
I may have to link up with you at some point, bud. But I'm definitely down to make sure it works with that.
I think a Rotoboss can send you a loaner.
Even a loaner, yeah, just to get the file.
Even a loaner.
Yeah, a loaner. I like that.
I have 3.
What are you looking for? Hey, Emily's here. Did you catch Emily's episode last week, Michael? Emily from Wild Willow Woodworks.
I think I caught a piece of it.
Dude, she runs like a Sonoma laser engraving sized business on diodes.
On diode. Oh.
Period. Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts. It's a great episode. It's really like kind of thought provoking. You should check it out if you've already watched it. It's a good one.
Yeah.
I just counted. I have 14 different designs I'm bouncing between right now. And I have 2 more that are almost ready to go up on the marketplace. And
Jason says that it's just a simple 4-point cross section with oblong holes. You should send the DXF to Kyle so he can design for it.
Yeah. And I also, on top of all those, I also am working on some 3D printed stuff for rotary table, like dedicated rotary tables for bolt down fixtures for
Nice.
like, for example, like swappable tumbler, project mark style, like 4 at a time deals, stuff like that.
Yep.
So lots of all kinds of stuff.
Oh, look, check it out. Emily says, you guys helped me get to almost 1,000 subs already. Thank you so much. Dude, it was a blast. Come back on anytime, for real.
Yep. It's all the community. We were just here to talk and hang out.
Have you seen any of the episodes that I've been uploading lately at all?
I've seen a few.
Because we've been talking about like fixturing a lot. And
Yeah.
there are some like boss.
Yeah, so the one I watched was reminded me of what we created a long time ago, just more tighter, right? A movable plate with all the pins already in it.
Yeah,
right.
Dude.
That's like billet aluminum. Like,
yeah, if you haven't seen this, hold on here, let me see. You audience, if you guys have not seen this.
Yeah.
This thing is sick. The king of fixturing has arrived. There's a similar one Kyle got from Silent Manufacturing.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it's like, I can't tell you like how good it feels to just like touch this. Yeah. And it's been fun because it's like it's actually driven a lot of traffic over to the Maker Remix market. And things have been selling really well over there lately. So this has been kind of like a fun little set of videos to do, because a lot of people that watch the channel have been uploading their products over there, and they've also been like mailing them to the shop so that we can check them out. So I started shooting like this super short like mini series, just like showcasing all that stuff. And this was one of the first ones. So if you guys haven't already seen this one, go check that out too. Just in Laser Everything News, because this was a really fun little project to put together. And all of the fixtures that go onto these kind of plates are the things that we're shooting or editing for now. And they all get put onto a fixture plate like this, so you can kind of see how it all works together.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to see some real life examples of how you, once you set up fixtures, like how it works for you. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I want to do some of the, like the funky stuff, man. Like the stuff that we used to use like the Legos for. You know,
I'm still a Lego fan.
Yeah, me too. I'm still a Lego fan, but if there's like a cleaner way to do it,
totally.
Yeah, I'd like to. Do you still have the Legos kicking around?
Oh, dude, I use them on a regular. They're like, if you watch a couple videos back where I teach people how to engrave Apple AirPods, the Pro cases. Yeah, I'm using a Lego fixture in that.
Yeah,
for $200 earphones.
I remember you went on like eBay or some shit and you bought a bag.
Bought a bag
of like nasty spit filled.
Yeah,
fucking
some kids been gumming on it.
Just gumming on. Yeah. And you're like, perfect. This is great.
This is great.
Yeah.
$12 well spent.
$12, dude. Like 30,000 Legos. Have a nice day.
Yep. They are very handy.
Approximately 1 billion Legos. Yeah, it's true.
And a million
Duplos.
And as a bonus, if you're going to be using them as fixtures, if you have a 5-year-old running around that's not supposed to be in the shop, you can also pull out the Lego bin and give them to the 5-year-old and say, hey, you're allowed to stay over here in this part of the shop and play with these while Daddy works. So they bonus in that too.
Bonus for that, dude. I just broke out because Felix kind of outgrew them, but Nugget's just coming into the age where it's interesting to her. I found the big tub of like wooden rail train sets. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, old school.
Like the train table rails. And so she's been all about those. And that was actually, if you guys are looking for something to sell on Etsy, one of my best sellers was a piece of that track. Just a straight piece of that track with like a kid's name on it. Super easy. You can get like little expansion packs that come with like 6 of those just straight rail pieces.
Yep.
Just throw a name on it, dude. People go berserk for that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it was a cool one. We're reopening the shop. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't think I did. We're gonna reopen the shop, which is pretty cool. So Monroe Laser's coming back.
Okay. That's super sick.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to a mix of Friday live days again.
Yeah, I think we're gonna bring somebody on to just like do that, you know, so I can go up there and like film while projects are getting done without
Oh,
it
yeah.
being like all that weight on my shoulders, but like kind of more like capturing the process of like, you know, how the shop is running, I think would be really interesting.
Oh yeah.
And the main reason we're doing it is because a space opened up upstairs that I never thought was going to open up. So that whole strip of offices above the workshop now, as you guys know it, is all like inside entrances, but there's one unit at the very end of the building that has a private entrance and a loading dock, like its own private loading dock.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's only like 500 square feet. It's a small space, but it has a private entrance and a loading dock attached to it. So that was, in my mind, is going to be like a showroom. We'll probably have a couple small machines up there. Everything else will stay downstairs.
Yep.
But we'll have like kind of a facade, you know, to do that with. And I think that'll be fun. Miranda says nice announcement. I think it'll be fun. This is her big project. Miranda really wants the shop to reopen. She has wanted it since like the day that it closed.
Yeah.
So she's kind of leading the charge on that one, and I'll be there to film it with a camera, you know, and we'll kind of go from there. But I'm excited, you know. I'm a little stressed just thinking about it, but excited.
Yeah, you should. I mean, you're pretty much in the same area, so you'll be serving you already have somewhat of a customer base there, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good, you know, and you were already ramping up to a certain point, you know, so you'll just continue where you left off.
There's still people that wander that building that we're in, like looking for us, wondering where Monroe Laser is. And like Tom will be like, hey, you know, some guy was looking for you. We wanted something engraved. And now that you're here, I'll go get it. And I'm like, shut up. Like, literally like in the middle of like editing, like an 8-hour editing stint or something. And I'm like,
I still get calls from
here.
California.
Yeah.
People just like, hey, can I bring this by? And I'm like, I'm in Georgia.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and I don't know where they're finding the information, but it's not. I just think they have an old listing or an old link somewhere.
We use and I'm sure I've talked about this on the podcast before, but we use an app called Sideline. It's available for Android and iOS, and it just gives you a second phone number on your phone. That's all it does. So if people call that, your phone rings. If you call out, that's the number they see. But if you call out from within the app, and we've kept the same number, and people still call it like many times a week. So I feel like it'd be very easy to switch the lights back on. Speaking of switching on lights,
speaking of sidelines,
from
there he is.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Look at that segue. God, I was on point.
How's Evelyn?
She is sick. Is the best way to say it.
Yeah, rough.
That's pretty much what's going on tonight. Just sitting there trying to make sure she's good. Fun times.
Explosive diarrhea, like boys.
Literally, except this way.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, like last night, she literally comes around the corner. So, hi, everybody. By the way, like she literally comes around the corner last night and she just goes, Daddy, I don't feel so. And I'm like, oh no, just turn around. And like as she's turning, she goes, Bruh, and it was just
no.
And like instant, and my wife's just like, oh God. And I was like, just go. And she's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, go. So yeah, that was it was good times. So much fun.
Rough. Yeah,
real fun.
So if you hope Evelyn feels better, smash that like button.
Yeah,
hey, there you go. That's a good segue.
Smash the like button for Evelyn.
We would hate for her to be on the sideline, like the thing you were just talking about.
Like the thing, the stuff. No, we were just talking about reopening the shop.
Oh yeah. A lot going on with that, man.
Matt knows. Matt knows how I feel about it. Oh yeah.
It makes
you happen. Sounds like it's gonna happen. So
yeah. No, it's happening. It's definitely happening. Yeah. I'm not the boss. I'm just the face.
Right.
Boss.
And Miranda with lasers.
I'm not the boss.
I just work here.
Yeah. What about you? What's up with you? We've kind of done a recap. Kyle said that his sole existence has been for rotary jigs, and
there'll be more than just rotary jigs.
Michael's been pumping it on YouTube. He's up to 47.3K, by the way, which is just like wild.
Yep.
And that's basically it. I don't think if we had any questions in chat. I see a couple things have been started.
We've had some comments I was going to poke at. But
Some comments, yeah. So we'll catch up with Matt really quick, and then we'll
if
start.
you guys have questions, dump them in chat.
Now's the time.
We'll circle back.
Let's see. So cool new stuff. Kyle and I have been like going crazy coaching. Like that's one of the things.
Yeah,
that
you have been. That's true.
And that's been really, really cool. We've got to meet some really awesome people. Like every person who we've been coaching, has been just really neat. Like their setup, everybody's got like a different story. What they like bought the laser for. So it's kind of neat getting to actually like talk to people and do that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's been kind of fun. But it's definitely tiring, man. Like, because you're with the person for 1 or 2 hours and then you got to take another hour or two, like type up all their notes and information and get the videos linked in. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you guys have been doing, we've been doing like a unique thing where you and Kyle have been doing coaching sessions together, which kind of,
that is unique.
Yeah. And it really seems to be working out well where one of you guys is providing some instruction and the other person is like literally taking minutes as it's going. So when the session is over, you have like a literal document this is exactly what we did in order, every step, every word. Plus we have the recordings too. We record them on Google Meet. So I think having that, like walking away with like a stack of papers about what you did specifically and not about like some generic approach to learning some topic is kind of a powerful thing. And being able to kind of come at it with two sides or have another instructor to bounce ideas off of has been really successful for you guys right now.
Yeah. And what's really nice too is at the end, like you said, they've got that document. But the other thing is like during the actual training, like anybody who's ever taken a training or done a training, you basically have the person's like, hold on, let me write that down. And you take 2 or 3 minutes at a time for the person, like asking clarifying questions, doing that kind of stuff. We take the notes for you. We do all that stuff for you so that literally it's done. So you get to actually have 100% like engagement while you're with us.
Ed C in chat is asking why not just let Google transcript the video. Do you feel like the notes that you provide are more efficient than just like reading a transcript?
Yes.
Why?
So transcripts are great when they're accurate.
It's true.
Accuracy is key. And if you do a control F on that and you're looking for a specific word that you know is part of a tip or a specific sentence, and Google decides that word doesn't exist because it changed the sentence on you, you're kind of SOL. And you got to read about 500 pages worth of stuff. Yeah. So we kind of do, I'll call it optimized cliff notes.
Yeah.
That's fair, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So we had a 2-hour training, exactly what he's saying. We had a 2-hour training that we turned into 3 pages worth of notes. And I can tell you, transcript wise, it would have been way longer.
Far longer.
But the other thing too is that I really appreciate is Kyle is the technical expert between probably like the 4 of us. Honestly, like, I don't know, Michael knows a lot, but I mean, Kyle like just knows all the technical stuff. And I've actually been in business selling with people, talking to people, using the different, the different people who distribution channels, I guess you could say. So it's kind of nice to cover all the bases between the 2 of us too. So pretty much any question that we get thrown at us, I don't think we've not been able to come up with one answer like on the spot yet. But even if we didn't have an answer, we'd be able to find it very quickly and get that. So one person can actually be still coaching, and then you can find the answer that person was looking for too. So it's still happening in that moment.
For sure.
Yeah.
So anywho, but yeah, that's been what's eating up a lot of time. And besides that, looking at some of the cool stuff that we got from JPP.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, we have
stuff.
Some unboxings coming, right?
I have a box behind me that I need to.
Yeah,
I literally can't slide my chair back.
I need to find my box. I have a box somewhere that I don't know where it is. I think it might be on the loading dock, but I haven't looked there yet. It didn't occur to me that it would be up there until, I don't know, Kyle mentioned it to me the last time I was walking out of the shop, and I was already getting into the car. So I was like, I'll check next time. But it would be weird if it wasn't delivered yet. I don't know. We'll have to check tracking on it. Because of like,
I have the initial like whole bunch of acrylic and woods and stuff that I got from JPP, but they have they're really good about if you're going to make some content, you can just give you a budget. They can do like, all right, what do you want to make content on? We'll figure it out, So I was thinking I definitely want to look into more of their engravable like gift type stuff. Start taking a closer look at that, the cutting boards,
I know
like
you
that.
have this on lock already, Michael, but like when they asked me what if I wanted anything for the channel to like show off and play with, I was like, I would like that $2,000 Hotronics hat press.
Yeah, no, I
dead looked her dead in the eyes. Was like, I want that, and she was like,
yeah, but I don't think that's what they had in mind.
I think I'm making progress.
You're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there.
The one thing I want to do is do the like Romark hat pressed.
Yeah, it works.
Shit. I want to do that. I know it works. But
everybody's doing it.
I want to do it, and I'm not buying a $2,000 hat press. So I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep wearing them down. I'm gonna keep working on them.
Yeah.
See if I can get that rolling my way.
Yeah. It says he found his box, but he can't find his marbles.
It's okay. I haven't been able to find my marbles, and I don't know how long.
You're halfway there, buddy. You're halfway there.
Yeah,
those have been gone. Yeah.
Yeah, but just going back to what you were saying, if you are going to get into the leather hat patch game or the Romark patch, the new, trying that, or any kind of heat pressure sensitive adhesive patches, you can totally use the Hotronics with the one heat platen. That's totally most of the time going to work. But when you have the dual platen that heats from the bottom and the top, you get way better adhesion, and it doesn't deform the hat. And that's the biggest issue that you have with like the regular hat presses. Is you can get a crease line like right up here because you're having to press so hard to get that, especially on the thick leather patches. But when you have heat coming, look at my face, when you have heat coming from underneath too, it really makes a difference. So I know that the Hotronics makes one. I know that Lone Star Adhesive has their own dual heat press hat press. So they're definitely coming out and becoming more affordable. With that Hotronics one is the OG one.
We have a ton of stuff going on in chat, so now we should start popping through those for
questions time.
Yeah,
get it.
Questions and comments.
We're leading in soft here. Tim says, when I saw the title of this one, my mind went straight to the stacks of materials I've bought for testing. I just haven't gotten around to yet.
Oh my god!
Kind of how it goes, man.
That's laser brain.
Yeah,
laser brain.
That's it.
I love it over here.
Yep. Will Matt be joining this evening? Hey, Matt, you here?
I'm here.
He's hello.
Yeah.
How or can you move a starting node in Lightburn? Yes, and I happen to have Lightburn open. I can very quickly show you that.
Nice.
This is like the ultra fast version. So you ready? Here we go. So we have Lightburn, and I'm even going to start fresh. Here's a box, right? And you'll notice there's lots of places that Lightburn could start this box, especially if you have a bunch of stuff going around on screen in your design. If you click down here, you'll mouse over, set shape start point. You can click and you can pick where you want to start by either adding a node and clicking on it or just going to an existing node. And if you shift click, you can reverse the direction of that arrow. See?
That's cool.
And that's that. That's the quick version.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
And now you know.
Now I know.
Any word when Light Object Saturn video is coming out?
Bro, soon. Those are hard ones. So the last videos that I have from Light Object to put together, I'll say, are the videos about the machines themselves. Michael and I shot hours of footage and maybe 5 minutes of audio for those hours of footage, and a lot of it isn't super good. So the position that I feel like I'm in, and I don't want to speak for you, is that I need to write a script for each of those videos, and they're going to be original words after the fact based on the footage and my experiences with the machines, but it wasn't something that was like recorded there. So if I just edit what I have right now, it's just going to be like a dazzle reel of like flashy shots of the machine with no meat, you know.
Mhm.
And I don't want that. That's not what I want to publish. And we've had a lot of backlogged backlogged light object stuff that was coming out for a while shortly after the trip that we did have good on-site audio for. And then LBX came up and we are pushing through the backlog of that. I want to write those scripts. It's going to take like some dedicated time for me to like sit down and do it and make sure that they're accurate and helpful and insightful. The Saturn was dope. It's a sick machine. I feel like anybody would be lucky to have one. So that's like kind of the bullet notes on what is going to be in that video. It's not going to be surprising. There's no, and I could say that safely for any of Marco's machines. I mean, I don't have a single negative thing to say about them, except maybe the exhaust vent positioning on a couple of those beds.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. So, I mean, for the most part, dude, like they're solid machines. They are performance based and purpose built to just do what they do really, really well. They're
over and over again.
They are not the sleekest machines.
They're production machines.
They are not. Yeah, they're not like, you know, the hip club to be in, kind of like ownership wise, but they are just like beast mode on getting shit done. And they do that really, really well. And that's what the video is going to be about for all of the machines we looked at, not just the Saturn. Of course, the Saturn has some really unique, you know, kind of novel bits about it, like the dual head system, right? Where you're getting kind of the two laser tubes. You can work at a normal power off just one of those tubes, or you can work at full power and use the metal cutting head. So you can actually cut metal with a CO2 laser, and
it's with compressed gas.
There's definitely something, unique about that machine that you're not going to see from others in the lineup, like the Legend or the Ranger. And we'll certainly touch on that in the video too. But it's not new. Those machines have existed for a long time, and they do it very well. But it's not there won't be any surprises in the video. So if you're considering one, just right now, I'll tell you, I would strongly recommend it. I don't think that there's going to be anything in that final video when it releases that would work to dissuade you from making that purchase. So I would purchase one confidently. That said, I do know that we haven't published them. It does bother me, and we'll get to work on that soon-ish, you know, trademark TM.
Following up with the last question, they said, awesome, thanks for showing how to do a starting node. That'll help a lot with our larger CO2 when doing 4x8 sheets of plywood.
Nice. Large CO2.
That is a great use case. When you're cutting something that big, especially with a knife table, especially if you're concerned with certain bits falling through the knife table when they're complete, you may want to make sure that you start on one side so that it's not dangling, putting a lot of pressure on the other, for example, depending on your bed and how it's laid out. But yeah, good stuff.
Dude, I'd love a 4x8 CO2 laser. I feel like that would be really cool.
Oh,
yeah.
You have to get like an intercom from this side to the other, like, hello.
I mean, that's basically what Michael and I did with the
it's like a pilot
the
operator
Rose
headset.
graphics back in the day.
Yeah.
Who was just talking to me about Sipe Cut? Was that you, Kyle?
Yeah, I was talking to you about Sipe Cut.
Yeah.
It was a couple days ago.
Yeah, I want to do some Sipe Cut tutorials. That would be fun.
With a 4x8 CO2, you can at least lift the piece of plywood and put it on there.
Yeah.
With the fiber laser, if you get a 4x8 piece of steel, guess what?
You're going to blow your back out.
No. Where's your crane?
Yeah.
Where's your crane? Because that's depending on what the
did,
thickness
dude,
is.
like we were so much younger back then. Like we lifted shit we should not have been lifting.
I was gonna say you would still definitely try.
Oh no, we did it. We did it all the time. We wore Michael bought like these big like fireproof oven mitts, and like we'd put them on not because the metal was hot, but because it was sheared. So it like
Oh,
It was
Jesus.
sharp and
it would
jagged.
just cut your hand off, like for real.
Oh yeah.
So we would like put these giant gloves on and like carry it and be like, blah, 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 blah. We're just
Huge
like, wow.
pieces of steel.
So
Yeah.
dangerous, dude.
Instead
so
of
stupid.
OSHA, it's just oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, we did not follow a single OSHA regulation back then. That was bad. It was
That
naughty.
happens. Oh,
But we did it.
Something to add to the last question too. You can also try using lead-ins and lead-outs. So if you're cutting really thick material that you're struggling with, it's real slow, the starts and stops are real nasty, and that's why you're asking about starting point. You can also try using a lead-in or a lead-out to get the cut away from your finished piece for a starting point and an end point.
That must be new. I feel like, and granted, it was a while ago. I was asking Jason about lead-ins, and I feel like at that time he said that that wasn't a feature. So that they must have added.
It's been in there for at least a little bit. I know it was talked about in the. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before for Lightburn for Gantry.
I would say
that's good. I'm glad they
but
got
it's
it
in there.
Yeah,
I think it's been at least 6 months because Kyle, I had a order that came in from the motorcycle shop that I work with a lot, and they had ordered like 1/2-inch cutting, and I kept having issues where the CO2 would like in the corners, literally like right where it started and stopped, it would have like a blast of heat, and because of as it cut through the shear, and as it did, it would go, and it would just cause like blemishes on the acrylic. Even though I had it covered and everything. So like, the guy was kind of frustrated about it. Kyle showed me, he's like, have you thought about doing lead-ins? And all it took was like a 1/16 of an inch of lead-in to where basically it would go like that, come back around, go back, and just that little bit was enough to not have me have any issues. And the guy was super happy. And I was like, yes. So yeah, with thicker materials like that, weird stuff happens.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can add them in manually, but Lightburn lets you do it.
If you don't know what we're talking about, a lead-in is basically like when you have a big laser, a high wattage laser, and the laser needs to penetrate the material. It takes a lot of energy, and sometimes it needs to sit there for a second to cut all the way through the thing. Once it's all the way through the substrate, it will cut really cleanly as it's moving through it because it's starting at a position where it's all the way through the material. But doing that sit for a second to get through all of the layers, obviously you heat damage, whether that comes
blow out, you're going to have a corner blown out.
Yep.
So.
So something
it can puddle up, it can get flaggy.
It's a little ramp up.
Rather than start in line as part of the line of the graphic, you start off to the side, and the lead-in is the distance between that offset starting point and then where it comes down, and then it will begin its journey along the outline of the cut line. So a lead-in is very simply just an external point where the cut begins before moving into the path that it's supposed to be following as part of the cut. And Kyle, I think you just mentioned that is something that's covered in the Gantry Crash Course already? Yeah, great.
Yeah, so after the show, go to the Lightburn for Gantry Crash Course, and it'll be the one where we cover in settings. So you'll see it there. But
maybe we can link that in the description because I do see Global Weather Project is asking about that. So maybe we can link that video for them.
Yeah, I'll grab it and throw it in the description toward the end of the show when we're.
Here's a good question. Not that just because people keep asking on the subject, will a lead-in work with a diode laser?
Yeah,
it works. It should work with pretty much any gantry, as far as I know.
I don't think it's DSP exclusive. So
I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure
G-Code should be able to do that.
I'm pretty sure Lightburn just incorporates it into the design.
Yeah.
So like it just adds a little tail onto it to the section,
like one extra node off of a point.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that should be about it.
Yeah.
3DHP says, need to order a Lightburn sticker fiber laser. Looks great on the front. And I think he's referring to Matt's.
Yeah,
Oh,
up
yeah.
in the corner there. You
It
see the
does.
little reflection there.
It does.
I think
Yeah.
those are on.
Speaking of
the
stickers,
website, right?
on the CO2. Well, the Lightburn stickers are on the Lightburn website. Art, we got a sticker up there from H&H on your other one.
I think I think I got one. We got one in our goodie bag at LBX, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll do that. I have the googly eyes on the front of mine. It's pretty funny.
And Lori says it was great seeing Michael on the AI panel at the awards and personalization at Vegas.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
you
was
went to
fun.
Vegas, dude.
Yeah.
You didn't even talk about that.
No,
Give us a Vegas recap. How was
Man, just
2024?
Did you see any interesting people
You
like
swept
last
it under
year?
the rug.
Yeah, that's bury the lead on that one big time.
Yeah, Vegas is cool, man. Yeah, I mean the show was good. I shot some video. I didn't do interviews this time. I just shot different booths and so I'm going to be doing a lot of writing a script about my journey there.
Nice.
But I spoke on a panel with Samita and Trevor from his YouTube channel, and we talked about social media influencing and how to use social media to promote your business and which platforms work for which things, and it was fun. It was fun for sure.
Yeah, you've done plenty of that for sure. Did you
Yeah.
see anything cool on the trade show floor? Any
I
big
did, and I did. I thought it was cool, and I don't know, they might have been out for a while, but JDS has 3 new leatherette tumblers, and the skins one looks like a softball.
Yep.
One looks like a baseball, and the other one looks like a basketball, and they're the 2-ply leatherette. So they have the stitching around them and everything, and they're blank. And that was in the showcase as like kind of a new item, and I was like, that's cool, because I've definitely done some softball cup orders before for teams around here and basketball stuff. And, when it's sports season, any kind of sports stuff. So that was pretty cool. Nothing mind-blowing as far as, and I took Doug Green's class on working with wood.
Oh, nice.
And that was cool. I actually took his class. He's a woodworker. If any of you don't know who Doug Green is, he's got his YouTube channel, and he covers Corel Draw tips and tricks. He's been doing it since before I even had a laser. But he is by trade, he's a woodworker. So he had a lot of woodworking tips to share at the APA show. So overall, it was a good trip, man.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
Man.
Good to hear. Chat.
And I will make a video soon.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
TM soon. TM.
Yeah,
soon. TM. We've got about 10 minutes left, so if you guys in chat, I feel like we have a ton of people in chat, but not a lot of questions today. Some days, I swear to God, we are like sweating, like actually breaking a sweat trying to answer people's questions. Today's crew, at one point there were like 80 of you. You guys are just chill. You guys are just hanging out, and that's cool. I'm okay with that.
We got 6 more in the meantime. Anyway.
Oh, still? Oh, we're still going? Oh, go. My bad. Tell me to shut up. Jesus.
Damn it, Alex. Shut up.
I know. I'm okay.
Asti says, I was watching LaserBrain trying to engrave glass with a UV laser. I normally use 55 kilohertz, but you were using 20. Is there a reason? Jeff from Canada. Yes. There's a lot of reasons. So different UV laser sources use different configurations to work with their hardware. So a 5-watt JPT source is going to have a pulse width and frequency range that is going to be completely different from the 10-watt variant of it, and far more even different than like an Ingu UV laser source, or an Inno, or one of the other various UV source brands out there. So they all just kind of have their own configuration. And that said, even a 10-watt UV, being that they're very low output wattage, you kind of, especially on glass, you want to make sure that you're engraving within the power range of that laser a lot of the time, or it's just going to take forever, or it won't have enough pulse energy to do anything to the surface of the glass.
Which is one of the many reasons why there's no UV library from Laser Everything. That's why you have never seen a UV library, because it would be useless. They're each one is so different. If you want some UV settings and you want to try a couple different things to see if you can get a match for your laser, you can go to lasereverything.net and check out the community parameter library for UV lasers, because then you can actually search and find somebody that has a similar source to yours, whether it's brand, make, or model, and then you'll actually kind of be in the ballpark. A lot of people actually are now realizing something that Kyle and I have been struggling with for a while, which is that different brand UV sources will flip the pulse duration polarity. So a 1 nanosecond pulse duration is max power on some sources, and then 30 nanoseconds, or what have you, 33 would be the max on a brand B. And it's very confusing. It adds up to like a very big mess, and it can be really difficult to kind of keep that straight in your brain. So the best way to go about it, and I'd encourage you guys, if you have good settings for glass, please go to the community parameter library that we host on lasereverything.net and submit those settings to help
for
people,
anything, not just glass.
Yeah, to help people like Osti out, because there may be 3 glass settings up there already, but not with the UV laser source that you're using. And especially in UV, that makes a really, really big difference. So if you have any settings for a UV laser that you're willing to share with the community, and that's how we operate here at Laser Everything, guys, head over to lasereverything.net. I'll pull it up so I can show you guys really quick while we move on. But
and I was going to mention too, the Laser Master Academy is a great place to be. Like, I mean, honestly, we have people. This was just brought up the other day. Someone was like, the UV laser settings that I saw in one group won't work. Do you guys mind sharing? I'm trying to get like a frosted glass look, and I dumped what I use. I had what Kyle used also for his settings, and his and I's the ones that he and I use are different. So I just put them both up there. Just there you go. You got them. Like as soon as we see the question.
So if you guys are unfamiliar with this is the lasereverything.net parameter library, and this is the one for UV lasers, which is sparse, guys. We definitely need some settings. So if you are a UV laser user, please head over here and submit your settings. I will approve them right away. We have a really great system that allows you to upload super high quality photos. Here you can see you can pick your laser model and brand, so you can match that up with other people who have the same ones. Though when you're looking for a certain material, you can make sure it's with a similar source that's operating the same way. So again, all you need to do to get to this, guys, super easy. Just go to lasereverything.net, head over to free settings, and then you're going to want the UV laser settings page. And of course, we have the same thing for fiber and CO2 as well. These are very nicely filled out and have a lot more leeway with brands, right? Because most fiber laser sources work about the same way. So there's a ton of stuff to choose, like pages. I'm really happy with how this is coming along over here. The UV one needs a little love though, and it's probably the one that needs this particular setup the most. So go check that out, and yeah, hit up the LMA, of course, for sure.
By the way, Edward just said he joined the LMA. Hey, Edward.
Thanks,
man.
Thanks for supporting the channel.
And he's glad he came tonight because he got the answer for cutting India up on the diode with starting points and stuff.
There you go.
Good.
We got answers.
Mindbody Mosaic says, I own a custom embroidery and printing shop, and I'm considering the venture into lasering out of necessity and fascination, to be honest. I am sure that I will eventually have a zillion questions. Now's the time, but maybe next week.
Yeah, we're here every week, Tuesday, 9 o'clock.
There you go. Come back anytime.
Yep.
Belinda says, getting a supplier for pet urns that I can engrave. Any suggestions? Are you looking to order in bulk, like by the pallet, or are you looking for like 2 or 3 at a time? Because that's going to sway the question greatly.
Where'd those little dough part ones, Michael? Where'd those come from?
I don't think those were pet urns. Those were like real urns. The heart ones, the pewter hearts. Yeah, usually you get those from what you want to look for is like a funeral home supply store. If you really want to get into the urn game, metal urns, wood urns, you gotta go look up, funeral home supply and on Google, and then you will get hit with all the main distributors that distribute to the funeral homes with the little urns, the big urns, the vase urns, the urns with 3 pots. I mean, that's where they're at.
Dark.
Yeah. It is kind of dark, but that's where you find it, because I've and a lot of them are real cagey about their pricing. Like they want to see your funeral home license. They want to see like all your paperwork before they give you a price list. So it's kind of its own little sector. At least that's my experience. There may be other suppliers out there that aren't like that.
I was going to say, 99.5% of the urns that you see in the US come from China. So
that's where originally that's where they originally come from.
The places you get them from here, if they're a supply house, they want to know that, because they don't want to offend somebody that, sensitive subject.
That paid $100 and $300 for a small urn box that cost them $10.
Yeah, exactly it. So, if you're looking to get a lot of them in bulk, if that's like your main business, you'd want to find a supplier, and if you do that, you're going to have to hit a minimum order quantity, and typically, and that means, I hope you have a space to fit a pallet or two.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Now people have questions, and we're getting down to the wire. So let's keep
really.
Going.
I literally.
Let's keep moving.
Good, happy hunting. Hope you found it before.
Lori has a comment for you, Alex. She says, "Call Stalls and ask for the hat press."
Yeah, sure. I'll get right on the line with them. I have their direct number.
Rebecca
Jeff
says,
Stalls.
Hey, Stalls.
Rebecca says, "My world is so slow right now. It's blah, 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 blah. Right now. It's nice to hear it's not just me. Yeah, it's quarter one. It's how it goes."
Yeah.
Ed says, "Okay, I was looking for fiber lasers, but there is a UV laser, and there seems to be different kinds of fiber, so I'm a little lost." In reference to the website.
Yeah. So a good place to look is the buying guide. If you don't know exactly what you're looking for, we kind of get into some details. But if you don't know the difference between those kinds of lasers, like fiber and UV, there's a great episode on the channel for you. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Galvo Lasers. I'll pull it up, and we will put a link to this in the description. Everything you need to know about. I love how it autofills. That makes me feel really good. I have an autofilling video. Here is the video. It looks like this. Everything you need to know. Fiber, CO2, UV. We cover all 3 of the options. We talk about what they can do, what they can't do, which tricks they have, and we even get into like some of the different laser sources you'll find for the different types of lasers from all the different brands and stuff. It's an excellent episode. It's got 92,000 views. I'll drop a link in chat right now too. This is the first place you should start if you haven't already watched this episode.
And by the way, this is where Ed said you already answered the UV question before, not touching them now, and he's kind of laughing about it. The one thing I'll tell you though, UV is one of those things where if you play with fiber first and you learn about frequency and you learn about power and speed, and you can really take those skills and knowledge and transfer them to the UV laser, because it's galvo based. And I feel like once you practice and you actually take time to burn some stuff, you've learned enough like that you're able to kind of figure some stuff out pretty quick. You really can be successful with it. So don't, shy away from something, because it's a super, super useful tool in the shop. Right. And there is support around for it. Like we're here to help you out. So just saying, it's a really, really useful tool.
They're complicated, but they're not impossible. I don't know if
it's glass so big, man.
I don't know if it's the best first laser. I don't know if I could ever make an argument for that, but it's certainly a valuable tool. So don't just completely write it off. Long and short of it, guys, this episode, go watch this. Seriously, if you haven't watched this, just go sit and watch it. It's not that long. It's like an hour. And in that hour, a little less than an hour, You'll take away everything you need to know about just like the core of like what the hell we're talking about. This is like really, this addresses that. So I'd highly recommend it.
Yep. It's also pinned at the top of a lot of our educational playlists.
Yeah,
too.
and Yuri said best video on galvos on the internet, period.
Yeah, it's a very, very good episode. I spent like 2 months writing this. So I'm proud of it. It's certainly so I would go check that out as well. How are we doing, Kyle?
A couple more. We'll speed through them.
Yep.
Emily says, not laser related, but do you have to wait for a while for after uploading a video for YouTube before making it public due to low quality? It has to do with processing.
Yeah, it'll say if it doesn't say processing, you're good. Set it to public. If it says it's processing, I would wait. Otherwise, you'll end up, with like a 480p video for the first couple hundred people that watch it, which is not ideal. So, but it's giant and obnoxious. You can't miss it. So it's either processing or it's not. And if it's not, you're good to go.
Yeah, if YouTube's overloaded with their servers, it might take a little longer, but that's about it. Yeah. Tammy Joe says, new fiber user, please give your take on the difference between frequency and waves. Epilogue 110. I'm guessing frequency and wavelength. Wavelength is the wavelength of laser that you're using. So fiber would be like 1064, CO2 would be 10,600, UV would be 355, right? Yeah. And like a diode laser would be 455. Yeah. So just as an example. And then, there's like specialty lasers that fall outside of those ranges for like very specific use cases. But for our purposes, there's simpler.
Wavelength is the color of the light, whether visible or invisible. Wavelength is the color of the light.
Yep. In reference to frequency with a laser, it has to do with the number of pulses per second it's laying onto the material.
Frequency in this case is the pulse repetition rate, the frequency at which the laser is pulsing. Continuous wave lasers like CO2 gantry lasers don't have a value for that. They're continuous waves, so they're always firing. And the frequency shouldn't be confused with the wavelength. A lot of people call wavelength frequency because they share, it's the frequency of the waves as they're passing different. I'm not explaining this well because I'm not writing a script. Different wavelengths of light oscillate at different frequencies. There we go. That's correct. So I stopped using the term frequency to refer to pulse repetition rate because they're very distinct, separate things. And we call it frequency kind of backhandedly. And that's not great for beginners because it can be very confusing, which is something I realized while working on the new LMA courses. Because we're working our way through laser operation right now. And the two are distinct, separate things. If you look at the documentation that comes with a laser source inside of your machine, they virtually never refer to it as frequency. They always write pulse repetition rate. And I know that is not as pretty and easy to say, but in your mind, I would associate that value, the number of pulses per second, with the term pulse repetition rate rather than frequency, because we use frequency in so many other ways when talking about optics and lasers and light, and it just makes it too easy to confuse those things. So I wanted to call out the difference there.
Yeah.
Sorry if that got too technical.
Andy says, I've been thinking of getting a CO2 Galvo 30 watt. It has a 2mm beam. What would be the optimum converter and scan head mirror size? By converter, you probably mean expander, and scan head mirror size. Yeah. So typically a lot of the more budget ones come with 10mm head, and therefore with a 2mm beam, you're probably going to have a 4x expander. If you wanted to reduce the dot at focus, so to get more detail out of it, you can do that by getting a 20mm head, which increases the size of the mirrors in the head, but it also will allow you to increase your expander. So you can get like an 8x expander, which would mean now instead of an 8mm beam going into the head, you could have a 16mm head going in, or 16mm beam going into the head.
To be perfectly clear, too, upgrading your Galvo scan head does nothing. So it only allows you to accept a wider beam from the expander. If
Going
you
into the
upgrade,
lens,
if you upgrade your head and you don't touch your expander, you're going to have identical performance. Nothing will change. You're just powering a larger scan head for no reason. The expander upgrade is what matters. And so if you take the 8x expander that Kyle is suggesting, so you have a 2mm beam and an 8x expander, you're going to have a 16mm beam. Okay, that 16mm wide beam is not going to fit on the 10mm mirrors inside the 10mm scan head. So you need to upgrade. The upgraded head is a result of the expander upgrade. It's not the destination. It's not the cause, right? It's the result. So we're upgrading our expander to get a wider beam, and then we're upgrading our head to allow that wider beam to be directed. And that's because of the optics. Go ahead.
And then following that up, as it's exiting the head, or the mirrors anyway, it now has to pass through the lens. So you have this big old opening on the back of a CO2 Galvo lens here.
Called an aperture.
But, so this one's intended to accept up to a 20mm beam.
For your benefit, Kyle. I know you know.
Yeah. No, I know for them. So this one will allow you to accept it, but a lot of the cheaper lenses are only designed to accept a 10 or a 16mm beam, and that's where you're going to kind of see a little bit of a roadblock. So it's a whole chain of events. This is kind of the complexity behind CO2 Galvos. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole, can you mark stuff with the 10mm head in a normal setup? Absolutely. Do you want to get more detail out of it? Then you got to go through all these little rabbit holes.
And so then also, Andy, I don't know Andy's use case for getting a Galvo CO2. That's the first thing I think of when I see questions about, like, why do you think you need it? Do you have a very specific type of loosey-goosey item that just won't fit in a flatbed CO2 that you're constantly doing over and over again? Just like, really, unless you already know you absolutely need it for a very specific application, just make sure you ask yourself, why do I need the CO2? I mean, I would love to have a little bit of everything in my shop, but in the end, can a regular gantry CO2 do whatever your Galvo that you're looking at can do?
Yeah. And just a closing thought on this, we do begin to cover this topic in the Everything You Need to Know About Galvo Lasers video that we talked about just a few minutes ago. So again, go watch that. It's not all encompassing. This whole topic could be an hour-long video on its own. And Matt and Kyle know that I've talked about writing this episode many times. It's a scary thing that it's like a very daunting task for me, but I would love to write it because it's sorely needed and it's a really important topic. But you can start to understand this by watching that video. So again, we'll link that in the description. Make sure you go watch that episode.
I also thought this was a good question to follow up with. He asked this back to back, but also focal length shorter than a fiber. It's actually longer. So fun fact, your wavelength on a fiber, 1064, your wavelength on a CO2 is 10,600. And that also translates to your focal distance, essentially. So when you pass the beam through the same size lens for the equivalent wavelength, you're going to get a longer range of focus. So the area that you can mark with effectively with a CO2 versus a fiber on an equivalent sized lens.
Yeah, and I zoomed out just to show you guys. So this is my 50-watt fiber over on this side, and this is the 60-watt Galvo. And you can see this has the 800mm tower way up high. For me to be able to use my 300 lens, I have to have that. Versus this guy, where for me to use a 300 lens, I'm still... I don't know.
You're capped.
I'm still a ways out from having to get to the top of that tower, Yep. So this one, really tall. No, but got him backwards. This one, really tall. This one, not so much. Fiber, CO2 Galvo. There you go.
So, and that's also why you can do like project marks with a CO2 with like a 175 or a 200 lens. with a fiber, you kind of need to do that with a 300. But moving on. We have Love says, shout out to Matt for all the help in selecting her 60-watt fiber.
Hey. Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
Matt.
Congrats to you, Laura, by the way. She's been looking at a fiber for like 6 months to a year. She's been like wanting one and like waiting to pull the trigger. And she finally she's been making some killer Stanley Cups, by the way. I hate making Stanley Cups, if I'm being honest. But she's been crushing them, doing like the full length wraps and really cool, like edge to edge. And so I think she's finally been crushing it enough to get one. It was between a fiber laser and the X tool, and we nudged her in the right direction to get the fiber. I was like, dude, go for the industrial tool, because like she's putting out what she's capable of doing. The fiber is the right tool for her skill set, is what I think I hopefully convinced her of. Is she's very good at what she does, but I think a lot of people are intimidated by that new laser, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So congrats, Laura.
Here's a good one for you guys. Is there a site to buy a logo and also purchase the rights to make products and use that logo on it?
Dude, I found a sick website.
I knew you would have a good answer for this. What you're seeking in that is essentially commercial rights to use it.
Yeah, a custom logo design. You can go to.
Yeah, I found it. I already found it. Check it out. Here it is. It's called Logo Ground, and they're just logo. They're done. Like literally, you click it and you buy it. You're buying the rights to it. You own it forever. I think this is exactly what you're looking for. You can search. You can find anything. I could type like laser in. Once it's sold, it's gone. You're not buying a license. You're buying the.
Yeah, that was my question. Is like, how many times are they going to sell the same logo?
Yeah.
Here's Alpha
Just the
Laser
once.
Beam, $400, and you buy it and then it's gone.
Congrats, you're a company.
Yeah, this is a great website. I've purchased things from this site as assets before, not for using as a logo, but for engraving, because I know I'm the only one who's going to have that artwork, which is pretty cool. So imagine something like design bundles, right? But where people could only sell the artwork once. I mean, that's what something like this is gonna kind of grant you. And again, you're not purchasing, and check for licenses. I don't hold me to this. Do your due diligence, but you're not purchasing a license here. You're purchasing the rights to the art. You're the owner of the work when you make a purchase through a site like this. So I would really recommend starting like this. Logo Ground. They have a couple other competitors. Do a little Googling. I'm sure you will find something. And please, God, read the terms of service. But for the most part, I think a service like that would do you pretty well.
Yeah.
Can I throw my 2 cents in there?
Yep.
Do it.
So my other suggestions, if you don't see anything there and you've got $100 or maybe even less, I used for my main logo for Sonoma laser engraving, I actually used 99designs.com and I made a logo contest. So what you do is you throw up $100 and you say, this is what I want my logo to portray. This is the name of my company, and the more money you put up, you get all these designers fighting to design your logo for you, and then you get to pick in the end who won the design contest. And it's a cool way to get a lot of different designers with their take on your logo that you want to create. And I've been very happy with my logo for years now. So that's it.
Yeah.
And one more thing too, I know on the marketplace, they don't have a specific listing yet. So if you were looking them up, they don't have it up, but they basically were asking questions. God, and I can't remember the name of I think it was like Vanessa Thayer Designs. Anyways, she's a designer who basically is a lot like May, where she's really good with designs, and so she'll actually create a brand for you. So you pay, I think it's like $150, I think it was. Yeah. And so they don't have it publicly listed yet, but they're getting ready to list it. Long story short, they do an interview with you. They ask you questions. They get some information from you, and they'll actually put together a design for you. And you can take basically, I think it was like 2 to 3 changes that you get from based off of what they give you. But they also create like a color palette for you, and do all kinds of stuff so that when it's just all said and done. But really great resource. I'm hoping that they get that posted soon.
Yep. Cool.
Harlan says, where are the in-person classes held and what are the costs? I will have to fly in, but that's relatively inexpensive for me. We don't currently have in-person classes. What we were referring to before was our coaching classes, where we have two of us in a room with one of you, and we go ham on the subject you need assistance with, and that is done through the web,
also
via like Google Meet or whatever.
We did spend some time today talking about LBX and the APA. So those were at conventions. So if that's what you're referring to,
right?
You can take those kind of like lecture courses at those events if you go to those kind of events. There's one coming up right now called the Next Level Laser Convention Expo, something like that. I'm blanking on it right now, but we just did an episode with the hosts of that event. It was like 3 episodes ago. So just go back in the playlist on the edit hasn't been published yet, but it's on the Laser Source podcast live stream playlist on our channel. Go like 3 episodes ago. You can watch the rerun. Mm-hmm. They talk all about it if you want to go in person to an event like that and participate in some of the classes. They seem to really have their stuff together, and they're offering some cool stuff. So I would go check that out too.
Yes. Daniel says, my employer is considering purchasing a Galvo. We currently have an Epilog Fusion Pro 48. We used to engrave large quantity serial numbers. I'm not too sure how beneficial a Galvo could be for us. Depending on what you're marking and like the product itself, I mean, it could be very beneficial. If you're doing bulk runs that are filling an entire bed on a laser and it's hundreds of things, then that's really fast and really efficient and really good. But if you can only fit 2 or 3 things on your gantry bed and that's it, it may be far faster for a Galvo that can go multiple times faster than a gantry to mark those items and swap them out by hand faster, or even set up like a rotary jig or an indexing table or something like that. So I mean, there are options. It just depends on your setup and use case. And
Michael, you have almost the identical setup. I was
going to say,
like the reverse of that. You must have an opinion on this question.
You know what's interesting is, since you have epilogues, and I know you're doing serial numbers. I don't know whether the serial numbers are on anodized aluminum, acrylic, leather, polymer, wood. I don't know. You know, that kind of matters too, because but like I did a little test, and this is interesting. So I've been messing around with slate coasters lately, with pictures and graphics and just kind of dialing in my settings. Yep. And I started on the fiber. I was like, this is cool. I can get a really nice white mark. And I said, it takes about, this full logo or whatever, it was taking about 3.5 minutes to get it all done. Right. That was pretty fast. For a really full coverage on the slate coaster. I was like, I wonder what the Epilog Pro can do it. So I brought it over there, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But that's because the Epilog is fast. You know what I mean? So I don't know where I'm going with this. I mean, because you have Epilogs, they're already as fast as the Galvo in a lot of ways, is what I found out. There was no time change. So it really comes down to what is the material that you're trying to work on. I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, because exactly similar thought there. Because here, I'll share this. So if you've got, in case you don't know, like this is like let me share my screen. Yeah. So this is aluminum, which is what Mike was talking about. If you're working with aluminum, done, right? And so if you were to, like, that's it. Like, so if you've got 100 of those that took 8 seconds or whatever it was, boop, you're done.
Yeah.
Another good suggestion for people that are looking for that kind of information, that have specific things that they're trying to complete. Matt mentioned this earlier, but the Laser Master Academy, not only the number one way to support the channel, make sure we all get to continue doing our jobs, but also a great place to literally pop in and be like, hey guys, I need someone with this laser to run this and get me some run times. Could you please help me out? People will say yes. Like, that's the kind of community we have over there, where people will literally just be like, absolutely, I will let you know how long it takes, and respond like an hour later with the time. I've seen that happen multiple times. So if you're looking for a community of people to help you do a little research and figure things out, the LMA is great for that. What's up, Matt?
I was gonna say also, we have a video coming out, I hope really soon. I think it's like next up in the like rungs. How to use the LMA effectively too. So I just ran into that today. I found someone had asked a question 3 days ago, that's pretty long for us to like have something not get answered, and it's because they had asked it in the wrong place. Like, it was just because it's large. Like, there's so many people, there's so much information, and there's so many places. It's really easy to ask a great question, but your hand is up in another room where we don't see it. And so that's one of those things where it was great to see it today, because it was like, hey, let's put that in the right place. And so one of the videos that we have is because there's so many questions that can be answered just by knowing how to use it effectively. So we've got a video coming out too. If you're somebody who's already a current LMA member and you're like, man, this is a lot of stuff. It's like 10 or 15 years worth of information culminated into like this giant list. That should be a really useful video for people. So whether you're a free tier member, I go over like what's there for you for free. So if you're someone who's trying to figure out, is it worth going to take a look, which it absolutely is, here's how you do that. And then the different tiers and what you get from it and how to use it. So just saying, keep your eyes out for that.
Yep.
All right, Afterburner, Kyle. Let's clear this out and wrap it up.
Yep, we're done accepting questions, guys. Save it for next week. Ed C says, they make Galvo CO2. Why? Where the hell do you put the big long ass tube? I mean, they do put glass tubes in CO2 Galvos, but more commonly because of their reduced, or I should say, increased response time. They're not really great at turning off and on as quick as a Galvo needs. You usually use an RF tube for a Galvo. So this laser behind me, and Matt has one behind him as well, those are 60-watt Davi RF tubes. Alex has a 30-watt coherent tube on his, which is probably 30% smaller, maybe 40. And it's
800 pounds.
It's still 800 pounds. They're heavy because they're made of metal instead of glass. The benefit to that is you can use fans instead of water to cool them, so you don't need a chiller. Some do. The really big ones, like the 180-watt RF tubes, require water chilling, but actually maybe not all of them. But anyways,
irrelevant. Ed's not buying.
They use RF tubes. They use RF tubes. Andy, thanks, guys. I do have a CO2 gantry and a 30-watt fiber, so I'll probably stay away from that and maybe go 60-watt MOPA instead. It all depends on your workload, man. Just think about what you got to work on, and that's it. And Lobo says, aside from Etsy, where else can homemade laser products be sold? Alex was talking about a platform a couple of weeks ago called Whatnot. I would say that's probably a good platform to try because there's not a lot of personalized stuff getting sold on there in our industry. Yeah. So it's a really good place to kind of break in, get new kind of market share. And
again, like the Next Level Laser Conference that we just mentioned, that we had an episode on, go to the same place. Laser Source Podcast live streams playlist on the channel. There's a whole 2-part podcast that we did just about Whatnot. We just talked about it for like 2 hours and like all the different features and what you could do and use cases. That would be really helpful for you. So definitely check that one out. It's also Amazon Handmade, which I've heard is a nightmare. So,
there's also TikTok Shop or something like that.
TikTok Shop could be dope. And that's something I really want to look into, is how to leverage TikTok Shop, because it's really big right now. And don't forget Facebook Marketplace, man. People go nuts for Facebook Marketplace. I don't personally get it, but it's as popular as ever, and it's there. So
and the platform's there and fully set up too. So there's some options out there.
Definitely.
And Norbert
Last
says, last one, you're our boy tonight. Says, if you were going to buy a full-size CO2 laser, would it be better to get one that will handle the width of an entire sheet of plywood, or one that you have to cut the material down to fit the bed? And my answer to that would be, how much space do you have?
I'm gonna say budget too.
Budget's a big factor.
I think
Space is
it's my
would be
new
mine.
standard answer to these kind of questions is like, get the biggest bed that you can fit and the most laser power you can afford, and just call it a day. That's, I mean, honestly, like if you have a budget, stick to your budget. If you have a footprint demand in your workspace that you need to meet, buy a machine that fits that footprint. And wherever those two lines intersect, that's what you should be getting. Honestly, we've spent a long time answering this question, and we've gotten much, much more specific about the nitty gritty details in regards to the power and the footprint. And I feel like it always just kind of comes back to that every time at the end of the day. So that's my short answer for you, Norbert. But
I'd love a full-size sheet laser,
right?
But that would literally take up from this desk to that wall. And then I'd have to give up the rest of my lasers. So that's not happening.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. There we go.
Cool. I see. Yeah.
Anthony did a live and whatnot last Friday, making a coin. It got a little
cool.
attention.
Nice.
Yeah. Whatnot's all about consistency, being consistent, doing the same days at the same times, and like really hitting those people with like repetitive exposure is key over there. But
trying new stuff, maybe.
I think it's on a little kind of an uptick right now. So it would be a good time to get involved because I think their user base is up. So that'd be something I'd check out. But we're a half hour over, guys. You got a 90-minute episode out of us today. If you're watching from Laser Engraving 911, thanks for coming over and hanging out. We appreciate your boy Michael. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming to kick it with us for a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Always appreciate you. And I don't know, Kyle, I'm glad you were here. Matt, I'm glad you showed up at some point. Poor Evelyn. I hope she
it wasn't fun. Like literally all day she was fine. Started to go to bed and lay backwards, I guess. I don't know what it had a fever of like 100 all day. Got to bedtime and it was like, okay, gotta go be dad.
36 people pressed the like button to say feel better, Evelyn.
Oh, nice. Okay.
There's at least 12 more people in chat who could wish her well with the like
better, guys.
From her heart, she says.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live. You got podcasts coming your way every Tuesday night at 9:00 p.m. Eastern time. And Kyle's even been talking about maybe doing some project live soon. So that would be fun. Yeah. And I don't know. Thanks, Johnson Plastics Plus, the #1 place to go have a laser brain and let it affect your wallet. We love you guys. Thanks for sponsoring the show.
For sure.
I think that's all I've got, guys. Thank you so much for coming out, especially if you're here live. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Go sign up for the LMA. Go watch everything you need to know about Galvo lasers. And check out Michael's new episode on wood.
Yep.
For Laser Engraving 911. I think there's plenty of homework for you guys this week. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Night, everybody.